Hey scholars, welcome to class once again. So today I'm going to be answering the question to the exercise given on page 16 of your Hemi 101 manual. Do well to subscribe and stay tuned by clicking the notification bell. Thanks.
Alright, so the first question says letter the alphabet in capital letters and the figures up to 50 in 3 millimeter, 6 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and 10 millimeter characters using faint guidelines and keep character width and spacing consistent. So you are given three questions. So the first thing to know is that for you to do the assignment, you must try and divide your worksheet into three segments. It's not necessarily it's equal. It's according to how cumbersome the questions are. So for question one, I think we have to leave more space because it's more cumbersome than any other questions. So in the head of our meter rule or t square, let's make use of our meter rule. So spacing, the question two is not too much, so we can leave a little space for that. So question one should be in the order of, let's check for the whole length of our paper. So this is a total of, okay, so we're going to divide it in the order of, this should be around 66.5, I think. Yeah, so let's make it 25. Yeah, so and let's make this, let's make it 20, or yeah, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 20 should be okay. Yeah, all right. So the next thing to do is we did our set square with our t square well fixed to our working edge. Draw a parallel line, just a thin line. It's just to show you demarcation. So it's a thin line. All right. So for question one, so we are going to be writing letters A to Z and numeral 1 to 50 in the 3 millimeter, with its height, with the letters height being 3 millimeter. So the first thing to do is that, okay, let's draw a horizontal line. Let's assume we are going to start at this region. So the next thing is the vertical line. All right. So measure out 3 millimeter, and 3 millimeter on our meter is equivalent to 0.3 centimeter. 3 millimeter is equivalent to 0.3 centimeter. So minute, so tiny. So with the measurement being taken, we then draw a guideline. Then it should be faint, very faint. Let's also make a demarcation for this region. All right. So the same principle we applied while doing our title block. I would advise you use same principle here. So With our guideline being drawn, the, the thick guideline will be about 0 0.2 or better still 0 0.1. We may decide to work with 0 0.2 because 0 0.1 looks quite stressful. So let's work with 0 0.2. So since it's not specified, so all right. Then the next thing to do is measure out I want us to do it at once. So measure out our 0 0.2, then the 0 0.3, which is equivalent to 3 millimeter. Measure out your 0 0.2 again, 0 0.3, which is equivalent to 3 millimeter. So I think so. You apply same principle. Or true 0 0.2, then 3 millimeter. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 0 0.2 centimeter, 3 millimeter, 0 0.2 centimeter, 3 millimeter, and I think this should be okay for now. So we make use of our thin continuous line for the guideline, thin continuous line for the guideline for the lettering guideline. Make use of thick continuous line for the other guideline that shows the boundary of the line from a line to another line, or that shows the boundary of from a from the next line to the other one, right? Okay. Thin continuous line, then the thick continuous line. All right. So I think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines is okay. So then the next thing is to write out our lettering. Okay, letters A to Z. Just ensure that your A does not exceed the thin guideline we drew the other time. Then do make sure you are consistent with the space in between your letters. Oh no, oh no. Consistency, consistency. Wow. Then the next is uh figure. So let's start the figure from the next line. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9, 10, 11, All right. So this is for the 3 millimeter lettering. Your lettering being at 2 millimeter in height. So you're going to apply the same principle for that of 6 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. So then you may decide to dimension your guideline using your thin continuous line. You know, I in my previous class I explained that we make use of our thin continuous line to show or to show our dimension lines. So you decide to dimension your work. All right. Then write 3. You may decide to neglect the millimeter, since we all know that in ME we will deal with millimeter. So the 3, and lastly 3. Okay.
The next question, our next question to treat is that of number 2.
All right, everyone. So question 2 is also similar to that of question 1. So at first, same principle we applied. So we draw out our line, our guideline. So for easy, for us to be, for it to be fast, you may decide to project this very one to the other side. So since we have our vertical lines, let's project it to the other side for easy convenience. And with that, you'll be able to meet up with your time during your exams and your tests. All right. So you project this to the other side, make it your thick continuous line at first. So since I said you should try out the other ones, that of 6 millimeter and 10 millimeter, you may decide to use same principle by projecting it to the other side. So thin continuous line this time around. Do ensure that it's well aligned, and you can only achieve this if your ruler and your paper is well set on your drawing board and your T-square is firmly attached to your drawing board. So you can do well to check out the video on how to set your paper on drawing board after this class. your thin continuous line this time around. Just as I've said, do ensure it well aligned before you draw your line. Okay. Alright. Since question 2 is not as cumbersome or as much as that of question 1, so we may stop at the third line. Okay. Then we write out the figures they ask us to write out, making use of our grade B pencil, any of our grade B pencil. So we have 0.75 at first, then you space in between it, you have a space, then up next is 3.16. Do ensure it's the font, you are working with the font and Gotham and commercial Gothic. Alright, the next is 1.65, and do ensure that your spacing is consistent. Then the next is 444, 444, 442. Right, 1,290, 32,780. All right, so I would like you to, you know, apply same principle for that of your 6 millimeter and 10 millimeter. Also, you can do well to dimension your work just as we've done enough in the first question, and do well to do that for the other ones. Okay, so let's number our work. So question 2 talks about, you may actually project the guideline you have for this to the other side too. So question 2 talks about NRT continuous line. Okay, NRT continuous line. Then lastly, T continuous line. Okay, so we then write dimensions in 10 millimeter, dimensions. Okay, dimensions in 3 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. All right. So question 3 says you should letter the note as set below in 3 millimeter characters using faint guidelines between and in 3 millimeter characters. All right, and we should leave 3 millimeter between lines of lettering. 3 millimeter between lines of lettering. All right, so this is actually different from the ones we've been doing. So you were asked to leave about 3 millimeter between lines of lettering. So what I'm going to do is actually quite similar but not same this time around. So with our thin continuous, with our HB pencil, draw a thin continuous line. Up next, another thin continuous line. All right. So to some extent, it's similar, but we're asked to leave 3 millimeter between lines of lettering. All right. So we follow same principle this time around. I take continuous line at first. I'm actually projecting the other ones we've done earlier on. So tick continuous line at first, then followed by our thin continuous line to demarcate our 3 millimeter guideline. Please make sure it's a thin continuous line. Alright. Then our tick continuous line. Alright, so this time around we're asked to leave 3 millimeter between lines of lettering. So we are going to measure our 3 millimeter between this very from the last tick line we drew here, our 3 millimeter from the last tick line we drew here, one 3 millimeter is equivalent to 0.3. Okay, and here we have it. Then we then measure out 0.2, then 3 millimeter for the letter. Alright, we have up to, we are going to E. So we are going to do that for 5 times, I think. So 4 times. Okay, we've done one. So 3 millimeter, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. Oh, lest I forget. Then we're going to draw a tick continuous line at first. Tick continuous line at first. Yes, tick continuous line at first. Then thin continuous line. Another thin continuous line to serve as our 3 mm height of our letters. Then lastly, thick continuous line. We then measure another 3 mm between lines of lettering. Then apply same principle we've been applying. That's all. That's about that. Thick continuous line. Thick continuous line. Thick continuous line. Thin continuous line. Thin continuous line. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the last one. All right. So the next thing to do is to write out the notes. All right. So at first we have A. You make use of A. We have four O's. Then I think 5. And then 5.5. So spaced as shown. Then the next one is our B. So you discover the distance from A and B is 3 millimeter apart. The distance from A and B is 3 millimeter apart. And likewise, the lettering is at 3 millimeter. So that's what the question is trying to imply. So the distance A and B apart, or the distance apart from the nodes is at 3 millimeter, and at the same time your lettering is at 3 millimeter height. Alright, so B is 3 buses file 16, I think. Yeah, 16. And equidistant equispaced, okay, equispaced on 108 PCD. Then the next is C, while ensuring it also at 3 millimeter from B. Drill and rim in position for file 4.7 taper pin. Alright, so I would like you to try out that of D and E. Thanks.
Remember, the only way to overcome your fears is by facing them head on. I remain Emmy, your tutor here at M Consult. See you in the next class.